Today, my co-host and I are going to be covering the story The Storm by Kate Chopin. The Storm is basically about how these two people essentially partake in an affair, and this short story covers a variety of things such as literary elements, character developments, themes, and conflicts. Some of the literary elements that can be presented is symbolism and imagery. Would you like to take away on the beginning of some of the symbols that are within the story?
Well, I think the biggest thing that we're going to look at here is the title of the story is The Storm, which talks about a storm rolling in. And in the beginning, Bob and BB, Calixta's husband and son, were just kind of out and about, and the storm starts rolling in. Pan to Calixta, one of the main characters of the story, the wife, sitting at home, and suddenly here comes Alcee, which is the storm rolling in, and suddenly they're amongst each other, can't keep their hands off of each other. So that's where the storm is really starting to rumble and thrash. And then as the affair, so to speak, wanes, as does the storm, and the storm rolls out, Alcee leaves the picture, and where the storm kind of went away.
Yeah, that really strong symbolism there definitely links to one of the themes that we will be covering later with the passion of the storm and their love life, so to speak. But there is definitely also very strong imagery in the story when describing the storm rolling in and some of the surroundings that are happening and being observed, such as in the beginning where Calixta is sitting near a window sewing furiously on a sewing machine. It also presents how when Alcee is invited in, how they were in the dining room and a general utility room adjoining with her bedroom and BB's couch alongside her own. Did you notice any more specific imagery you would like to add?
Yes. The story also goes on to discuss Alcee describing her, or the story describing her as he kind of sees her. It at one point says he pushed her hair back from her face that was warm and steaming, and her lips were red and moist as pomegranate seed. Her white neck and a glimpse of her full, firm bosom that disturbed him power. You can just kind of imagine seeing what he's seeing.
Yeah, so that definitely describes some of the intensity of his observation skills.
Absolutely.
Which would also link us into the theme that was briefly mentioned of how passion definitely seems to be part of the human nature, wouldn't you say?
Yes. It even talks about the unconscious trail of a sensuous desire that talks about how passionate things are.
Yeah, especially since it also states how Calixta seemed extremely hesitant to introduce him into her home, given she had not seen him very often since her marriage and never alone.
They obviously knew that they really couldn't be trusted alone.
How would you say that the seeming conflict of Calixta's passion and wifely duties come about in the story? I personally think that she is conflicted between being a mother and maybe not so loving wife, but careful wife. Like, she obviously cares for her husband, given she panics, but she definitely seems to care more about her son than anything else. How would you say that these conflicts are about?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. It seems like she's not as concerned with her husband as she is her son. She obviously knows that she's in the wrong, but I'm not so sure that she's all in the relationship.
Yeah, definitely, because I think that links to some of the character development that we see, because she definitely seems to be slightly ashamed of herself when things begin, but she definitely gets lost in it as the actual storm progresses, so on and so forth, and then she just embraces the passion and doesn't seem to feel guilty about it by the time her husband and child arrive. And Alcee seems to have some character development, given that he then writes to his wife and says how her happiness matters, and he seems to accept that.
It says even in one section that he realizing that their health and pleasure were the first things to be considered. So that shows me that he's at least trying to be considerate of his wife and children and how they're doing.
Oh, most definitely. And his wife doesn't seem to be mad about it. His wife just seems to be happy that at least he is allowing her to stay in the place that she's in. And though he misses them, he will endure the pain of missing them. Do you have anything else you would like to add?
Well, I think that's probably about covered it.
All right. Thank you for listening.